So you might have heard, if you watch the news, it's kind of impossible not to have heard it, that last week there was an Israeli massacre of a bunch of emergency service workers in Gaza. You know, this is nothing new, just to be clear. Things like this have been happening for the last year and a half, unabated, but there was this specific massacre. So a massacre of 15 emergency service workers in Rafah were massacred, murdered by Israelis. The Israelis who, you know, the Israelis love to murder. They love to kill civilians. They love to kill babies, especially. It's just the IDF's MO, you know? It's what they do. Israel immediately claimed that they were Hamas. Of course, right? They claim that this was these weren't actual ambulances. These weren't emergency service workers. Israel claimed that these were like Hamas ambulances. They had their lights off, and all of the emergency service workers within were trying to do like a nighttime ambush of the Israeli troops. So the Israeli troops opened fire. Well, turns out, whoop-de-doo, that was a fucking lie. Whoever would have thought? Israel claims that the civilians they massacred are Hamas, and then it turns out that they're actually random fucking civilians. Wow, never saw that coming. Let's check it out. In this video, this isn't graphic so we can watch it, but it completely disproves what they were saying, basically. So you see a convoy of ambulances with lights on, fucking high beams on as well, it looks like. And this is just what the lights are like in Palestine. Medics in reflective gear, clearly visible. Lights on all of the ambulances and the fire truck. And they start getting shot at. So clearly this was like an intentional massacre. There's simply no doubt about it. What else could that possibly be? And that video went on for like 5 more minutes. Like the guy's phone kept recording. He was like hiding. Well past the point where the Israelis would have known that if this was an accident, which they're now claiming this was an accident, they claim their original story was that they were Hamas. It was Hamas, it was an ambush, lights were off. Curiously, they immediately buried all of the ambulances, all of the evidence. They like buried it with fucking excavators. They buried all the bodies. They haven't given any of them back. Now they're claiming it was just an honest mistake because the people that the ambulance was trying to helping were Hamas. So it was just a whoopsie doopsie, a little mistake. It's just a little mistake. That's why they carried out something that was clearly ordered from above, as in the immediate destruction of the evidence and the immediate burying and kidnapping of the bodies. Yeah. Obviously, they're fucking lying. It was an intentional massacre because Israel is doing genocide and trying to kill civilians. They're trying to kill as many civilians as possible. They want to wipe out the population of Gaza. This has been evident from day one. Anyone telling you otherwise is a fucking idiot liar. However, an interesting tidbit about this is the guy filming. He kept filming for 5 minutes, well past the point where the Israeli troops would have realized that these people were not firing back. And obviously they were not Hamas or whatever. This guy survived for 5 minutes hiding behind an ambulance, and at some point, the Israeli troops come across him. That guy is dead. He was killed. So he was very likely executed to eliminate witnesses, because he clearly survived the attack, and for most of the video, he seemed to have been lucky enough to have not been shot or anything. But at some point, he ends up being shot and killed. How did that possibly happen? Because he fucking was executed, obviously. He was fucking executed. And the only reason why, like, you have to assume zero evidence. Israeli is not providing any real evidence to contradict it. Always assume that they massacred people intentionally because they're civilians. Because the only reason why we have evidence here is one witness managed to get away, and they somehow managed to find this phone, and they found this video on it, like recovery stuff, somehow managed to find this phone and get it away from the Israelis without them noticing. Complete and total coincidence that we even have this evidence. Without this, the Israelis would have kept going with their false initial story. But the fact that we have the evidence is a fucking miracle, because the Israelis had every opportunity to hide it. They were sloppy and they missed the phone, basically. So you should always, by default, assume that the Israelis kill people because they like to kill civilians. If they kill a baby, it's because they like to kill babies. If they kill a child, it's because they like to kill children. The Israelis are killing people because they are genociding people. They want to liquidate the Palestinian people. That's why. Always remember that. Never assume otherwise. If the evidence comes out against all odds, as it often does, the Israelis are sloppy and they fail to hide some evidence or to execute enough witnesses or whatever, it always proves precisely what I was saying. It's part of a genocide. What is happening here is a genocide. It's nothing more, nothing less. They are always lying. Remember that.